Hello, Year 7, and welcome back. Today we are going to be carrying on looking at speed. By way of a warm-up, let's do a nice simple one. Let's say we've got a car that's going at 8 meters per second, and it drives for, let's go for 11 seconds. How far does it travel? Pause the video, work that out for me. Okay, so you should only be listening to my voice if you have done this now. By the way, you don't need like a new title and stuff because we're just carrying on. So a reminder that last lesson, we looked at how we could draw this kind of time wheel thing. We said that we 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And in each one of those seconds, it travels 8 meters. That's what 8 meters per second means. It means that in every second, we are traveling 8 meters, like so. Now, when we count all those up, we do 8 plus 8. We'll cross them off as we go. Did that one, plus 8, that's that one. Did that one, that one. I think I've got all of them. I might have confused myself. And then 2 more. So that should be, how many should that be? That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Good. And if we count all those up, we get to 88 meters. Now, the quicker way of doing that, of course, is instead of doing 8 plus 8 plus 8, you just do 8 times 11, and that will also give you 88 meters. The same thing. Okay. Let's do another one that's a bit more complicated. We'll do something that's going at 4.3 meters per second, and it goes for 107 seconds. Work that one out for me, please. Pause video, do that now. Okay, you should only be listening to my voice if you've done this. Now, what we spoke about last lesson is that it's a real pain having to do this for like 107 things. It just doesn't make any sense. So instead, we just do 4.3 multiplied by 107, and we get out our trusty calculators. 43 times 107, and that gives us 4,601 meters. I'm hoping that all of you got that. Now, those of you who have been paying attention will notice that we can just turn this into a very, very straightforward equation. What we've done is we've taken this, the speed, and we've multiplied it by this, which is the time, to get this, which is, which is the distance. So we've done speed multiplied by time to equal the distance. Now, of course, that is an equation. And in the same way that you've learned equations for magnification, and you've learned equations for power, and you've learned equations for efficiency, there is also an equation for speed. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down a mini title that is the speed equation, just like that. Underline that in purple. You can write your date, whatever date it happens to be for you. Pause video, do that now. Okay, so what is our speed equation? So very simply, what we just wrote, speed times time equals distance. Or sometimes we do it as symbols. We say S times T equals D. What is the unit for speed? Say your answer to screen on 3. What's the unit for speed? 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping you said meters per second. What is the unit for time? Say your answer to screen on 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping you said seconds. And what is the unit for distance? Say your answer to screen on 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping that you said meters. Write this down, please, and then we'll look at some practice questions. Okay. You should only be listening to my voice if you've written that down. If you've not got it down yet, make sure you pause your screen. let's do some examples. These are all examples that are in the booklet, so you don't need to so when we do the worked examples, you do need to write it down, but when it comes to the questions later on, you'll just find those in the booklet. Okay, so this is our first worked example. I'm actually just going to give myself a bit more space here. And let's pull out and let's bring this in a bit. Okay, there we go. Right, so we've got a car that has a speed of 15 meters per second and drives for 20 seconds. How far does it travel? Now, you'll remember there is something that we always do whenever we see a new equation, and that is to write down DESQs. Okay, so we're not going to bother with the last S for the minute. We're just going to do DESQ every single time. What does the D stand for? Say your answer to screen on 3. 1, 2, 3. The D stands for data, which is the information we have in the question. Now, in this case, that's this and this. We have a speed, or we could just write S, but we'll write fully for the minute. Speed is 15 meters per second. We have a time as well, and that is 20 seconds. We want to know how far it travels, so that's our distance. And that we don't know yet. That's our question mark. What is our equation? Well, luckily we wrote it down just before, and I put it in a big red box. Here it is. Speed times time equals distance. Okay, so let's do that. Speed times time equals distance. Oh, sorry, I should have asked you what the E stands for. I gave it away. I made it too easy for you. What about the S? What does the S stand for? Say your answer to screen on 3. 1, 2, 3. S stands for substitute, which is where you take the data and put it into the equation. So in this case, that would be 15 equals, sorry, not equals, 15 multiplied by 20 equals distance. Calculate. Well, I just get my calculator and I do 15 times 20, and that gives me 300. What is my unit? Well, I've just worked out distance, so my unit has to be meters. And that's it, that's done. Oh, I'm so useless. Calculate. I should have asked you what that stands for and what that stands for. Oh well, I've let you down. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. But that's it. It's that simple. What I'd like you to do is get this down as a worked example in your book, including the question. Make sure you write down the question as well. Pause video, do that now. Okay, let's move on then. What I'd like you to do is have a go at this one. I'm going to make a bit more space. Okay, there we go. Have a go at this one for yourself for me, please. Pause video and do that now. Okay, so you should only be listening to my voice if you've done this question. Just give me a sec. Right, so you should have your purple pen. First thing is D, E, S, C, U. If you've not done DESQ, then I'm really sorry, but it's not good enough. Now, we've told you many times before, it might seem easy to you at the beginning, but it gets harder. Using DESQ will mean that you don't make any mistakes. And if students send me work and I see they've not been using DESQ properly, I'll be very annoyed because you do need to use it. D, data, 5 minutes, 1.8 meters per second. So we've got a speed, which we'll just call S, equals 1.8 meters per second. I've got a time, T, which is 5 minutes. Now, can I carry on? No, I can't, because I have to change this 5 minutes into seconds. How do I change 5 minutes into seconds? Say you're on the screen on 3. How do I change 5 minutes into seconds? 1, 2, 3. I multiply by 60, and I make that 300 seconds. We have done this many, many, many times, which is why I let you have a go yourself. Ordinarily, I'd slow it down and I'd say, oh, look, you know, before you've gone ahead and done it. We've got the minutes and the seconds, blah, blah, blah. But you've done this so many times that I'm happy and I'm confident, I'm sure that most of you managed to do this. If you forgot to do that and you used 5 minutes in your answer, pause the video now, go ahead and work it out properly using the 300 seconds. And reminder that I like to cross this out to make sure it never gets used again. My distance, that's a question mark. What's the equation? S times T equals D. 1.8 times 5 equals D. Oh, wait, no, I've made a mistake. Did you spot my mistake? I'm hoping so. My mistake was this. I don't want to put 5 in there. I want to put 300 in there. So I'll get rid of that and change it. So I do 1.8 multiplied by 300, and that gives me 540. What is the unit? 540 meters. Again, the only thing that's different between this one and this one is this conversion here. But like I said, we've done that so many times, we don't really even need to think about it anymore. It comes so naturally to us. Have a go at this one by yourself. Pause the video. Oh, come off it. Sorry. It's messing around. Hang on. Sorry, give me a sec, guys. That's better. Right. Have a go at this one by yourselves. And again, it's question 58 in your booklet. Okay, pause the video, do that now. Okay, it's time to go over. Get your purple pen. D, E, S, C, U. We've got speed equals 0.8 meters per second. T equals 75 seconds. And if we want, we can write D equals question mark. Do I need to do anything to this? Do I need to change it? Am I happy with it the way it is? I'd say that I'm pretty happy with it the way it is. Speed times time equals distance. 0.8 times 75 equals distance. We get our trusty calculators out and we get 60. Done. If you got that right, well done. You can just get on with the questions now. If you didn't get that right, but you made like one small error, then that's okay. You can carry on as well. If you didn't get that right, you've got no idea what to do. So you've got no idea what I did here. You need to go back to the beginning of this video and start again until you get it. And if you still don't get it then you send me or your teacher an email and we will call you and help you out with it. Okay. So if you're good with that and you got that one right or almost right, then you can carry on and do questions 59 to 62, which I'll put on the screen here. Come on. Right, here we go. So I want you to do 59 down to 62. Pause the video, do that now. Okay, you should only be listening to my voice if you've done those questions now. And again, I remind you, if you're not going to bother doing the questions, you might as well not bother doing the video. It's a waste of your time. Let's go for 59. The same boat changes its speed to 0.6 meters and travels for another 160 seconds. How far does it travel? D, E, S, C. I don't have space. Oh dear. There we go. And let's put our U over here. Right, so I've got a speed equals 0.6 meters per second. And I've got time equals 160 seconds. D, I don't really know yet. So let's do S times T equals D. 0.6 times 160. Put that into my calculator. 96. If you got 96 meters, well done. If you didn't get 96 meters, I hope you can see where you went wrong now. If there's a mistake you've made and you think you made that in other questions as well, pause the video now and sort it out first. Okay, don't bother just watching along if it's going to be the same mistake every single time. That'll be very boring and a waste of your time. Right, we're now up to a plane. How far is the plane traveling at 85 meters per second for 8 minutes? So here we go, D, E, S, C, U. So we've got a speed. And we've got T equals 8 minutes. Now we know that we can't leave it like that. So we're going to change that straight away. We're going to do 8 times 60. And we're going to get 480. And D is still a question mark. S times T equals D. 85 times 8 equals D. And oh no, I've made a mistake again. Silly Mr. Boxer. This is my mistake. Because I don't want to use the 8 minutes. I now want to use the 480 seconds. So I need to rub that out and do 480 instead. Equals D. I get my calculator. That's not one that I'm going to do in my head. And that gives me 40800 meters. Done. Simples. 61. Right, a ball is falling to Earth at a speed of 5.5 meters per second. D equals, sorry, D, E, S, C, U. Data. So, oh, I keep just writing a D for no reason whatsoever. I want S for speed, 5.5 meters per second. Time is half a minute. What is half a minute? Well, you should know that that's 30 seconds. And again, we've done that before. And my D is a question mark. S times T equals D. And in this case, I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to make sure that I use the 30. So we'll put 5.5 times 30 equals D. I get my trusty calculator. And that gives me 165. And my unit is meters. Outstanding. Now these questions moved away from the equation for a bit and took you back to other knowledge. It's really important that we keep revisiting everything that we've learned and we don't just get sucked into one topic and forget everything that we've learned before. So a car is driving along a road at a speed of 12 meters per second. How far does it travel every second? That would be 12 meters. Which 5 forces are acting on it? Okay, so we've got thrust. Well, let's draw it out. Yeah, we've got, this is our car. It's going forwards. That's thrust, isn't it? Okay. Now it's also got 2 forces this way. Friction, which is with the road, and air resistance. What causes air resistance? Say you're on screen on 3. What causes air resistance? 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping that you said the car colliding or bumping into air particles. We've also got weight pulling it down. That's what we looked at a couple of lessons ago. And what have we got that stops it smashing straight through the road and just cannoning into the center of Earth? What we called the normal reaction force. So we'll just write normal reaction force. Now the next question says which ones are contact and which are non-contact. Contact, 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 non-contact. For thrust, what is in contact with the car for thrust to make it go? What is in contact with the car to make it go? 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping that you said the engine. Friction. What 2 things are in contact? 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping you said car and road. So really we should write this as car and engine because they're in contact. What about air resistance? Sorry. What causes that? Car and 1, 2, 3. Air particles. What about normal reaction force? What causes that? Car and 1, 2, 3. Again, the road. Weight, of course, is non-contact because you do not need to be touching Earth to feel its pull. If Earth was like this and the car was dropped from a heavy height, from a large height, it would still fall down, even though the car and Earth are not in contact. Let's draw a free body diagram for the car. So we start with a nice big dot like that. And then we get our rulers. I'm not going to use a ruler. I'm just going to draw a couple of arrows using the draw function. But if you haven't done yours with rulers, you haven't done it with a pencil, that would be wrong. It's not good enough. You have to do it. Where's my mouse? There it is. With pencils and a ruler. Let me see if I can get that into the middle. It doesn't want to go in the middle. Hold on. It doesn't help me at all. Let's try again. Useless. Unbelievable. I tell you what, I'm going to do. Let's see if I can move the dot. Can I move the dot? Is that going to be easier? There we go. That's going to be easier. Whoop. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and then you'd label all the forces like I've done up here. So all of these forces would go down there. So we'll write thrust, weight, normal reaction force. And that one arrow stands for air resistance plus friction. How far does the car travel in 18 minutes? Now for this, we're going to have to do some desk use. It gives us a speed, which is 12 meters per second, and it gives us a time. So let's get cracking. If you didn't realize this was a desk use question, guess what? Pause the video, do it now. So my speed was, what did it say? I've forgotten it already. Brain like a sieve, 12 meters per second. Okay. 12 meters per second. My time is 8 minutes, which of course I don't want. So I'm going to change that straight off the bat into seconds, and I'm going to get 480 seconds. And I do that by timesing it by 60, and I'm going to get rid of that from my life forever. I don't know what my distance is yet. Done. If you got that right, good job. If you didn't get it right, see if you can figure out where you went wrong. And if you're stuck, then like I said before, you need to send me an email. How far does the car travel in 2 hours? Now this is already a bit harder. How far does it travel in 2 hours? Okay, so we've got desk use again. We've got our speed was 12 meters per second. Oh, sorry, I'll write that speed. What is our time? Our time is 2 hours. How many seconds are in 2 hours? So we need to do 2 times 60 times 60. And again, we've done this before. I'm not going over it now. If you're stuck on it, go back to the videos we did on power. And that gives us 7,200 seconds. And of course, I want to cross that out before I forget. Plug that into my calculator. And my unit is meters per second. If you got that right, well done. If you didn't get that right, but you know exactly where you went wrong, then you're okay. If you have no idea where you went wrong, then what you need to do is take a picture, send it to me, and email me and say, sir, I need some help. We've been over this before. We're going to do a few more questions and then we'll stop for the day. Because I want to point out that we can do questions where we don't have speed and time, but where it gives us something else. It might say, ask us to work out the distance. So let me just squeeze this in a bit so we've got a bit more space. Now let's say that was our question. So just read through it for me first, please. Okay, you should have read that now. Let's have a think about how to solve it. So first, I need to do DESQ. So first thing I want you to do, pause the video, write down DESQ. Next thing I want you to do is figure out what data you've got. So pause the video and write down the data that you've got. Okay, so you should have written that my speed is 10 meters per second. My distance is 400 meters and my time is currently unknown. I don't know that. Write down the equation, please. Some of you may have written S times D equals T because you think, oh, right, well, I've got an S there and D there and a T there. I'm just going to times them together and make it equals. That would be wrong. The reason why it's wrong is because that's not the equation. And as we've told you before, you just always write the same equation, which in this case is S times T equals D. I'd like you to substitute the numbers into that equation. So pause your video and do a substitution. Okay, so you should have a speed of 10 multiplied by T, which we don't know yet, and a distance of 400. Now, if you remember what to do next, have a go at doing it. Pause the video and have a go. If you don't remember, or if you've done it now, what we do is we take that 10 and we put it underneath the 400. And we've done this again many times before, and there's a chant that you will learn in maths soon, because you're not learned it yet, I'm not going to do it with you. And we end up with T equals 400 divided by 10, which equals 40. My unit then, T equals 40. And because it's time, what is my unit? Say your answer to screen on 3. What is my unit if it's time? 1, 2, 3. You should have seconds. Some of you will have just got that already, and you'll have paused the video way earlier and just done it. That's great. If you needed a bit more help, that's fine too. Let's have a look at the next one. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and have a go at this one for me, please. Okay, so you should now have your purple pen. Let's go for it. D-E-S-C-U. Speed equals 7.5 meters per second. Distance is 1,500 meters. Time is currently unknown. S times T equals D. And again, a reminder, we draw the line underneath, we take it from this side, and we put it under. So for the calculate step, we have T equals 1500 divided by 7.5. Which should give us a nice answer of 200. And because it's a time, my unit is 200 seconds. If you got that right, top job. If you didn't get it right, I suspect it's probably because you did. Okay, so I tell you what we'll do is we'll do the common errors. Okay, so first common error is for a student to get this 11250. Pause the video and see if you can work out how a student will have got 11250. That's wrong, right? But I want you to try and work out how a student would have got that. Pause the video, do that now. Okay, so to get a 11250, that would have been 7.5 multiplied by 1500. So that would be wrong, okay? Because we do 1500 divided by 7.5, which is what we did over here. Now, the second common answer that people will have got wrong will be if they got something like 0.005. And the way they would have got that is by doing this the wrong way around. Okay, so if they did 7.5 divided by 1500, But that would have given them that, and that would be wrong. So that would also be wrong. Cool. All right. Have a go then at questions 63 to 66. Let's go find them for you. In case you don't have a paper copy of the booklet, we'll do 63 to 66. Pause the video, do that now. Okay, you should only be listening to my voice if you have done those questions, those 4 questions. We're going to go over them together now. Where's it gone? Was it here? Yeah, here we are. Okay, I'm just going to make this one a bit bigger as well. I really should have made these bigger in advance. I guess I just wasn't thinking. Where's it gone? Here we are. Let's just, sorry. Come back. Right, mouse is being a bit silly. Okay. Right, let's do it. Right. Car travels for 8,000 meters at that speed. D, E, S, C, U. And I'm going to do these quickly now, okay? Because we should be pretty good at these by now. Okay, so you should have 5,000 seconds, and there are your workings. So make sure you've got all the steps properly. And again, if you've made a mistake and you've got, say, if you've got 12,800, that's because you times this with this. And if you got some tiny weird thing on your calculator you don't recognize, it says 2 times 10 to the minus 4. And that's because you did this. You did the this fraction here the wrong way around. Okay. Next one. So again, you can just watch my working. So I suspect, by the way, that some of you will have messed up this step and said, no, well, I've got D, so I'll just do D times S or D times T or whatever. And again, I remind you, you always do the same equation, never ever change it. Okay, just leave it as that and you'll always get it right. Again, we just take this from here and put it underneath. $7,500 seconds. There's your answer. Hopefully we all got that right. Next one. So if you need to pause the video, make your corrections. I think we've got 2 more and then we'll stop for the day. A snail travels 0.08 meters. What is that? 4 zeros. If you got that right, good job. Last one. And this was the, sorry, and if you didn't get it right, of course, make your corrections. This was the tricky one because you had to change centimeters into meters. Again, it's not that tricky because we've done this before many, many times. You guys are perfectly capable of doing it. I've got distance equals 45 centimeters, which I immediately need to change into meters. Divide that by 100. So I get 0.0. Oh, sorry, I forgot to write the equation. How many zeros is that? 5. So we get unit, because it's time, is 3. Cool. Now, that's all we've got time for today. A reminder, if this is, if you're doing this video on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, as soon as you're done, you go ahead and do your flashcards. If it's Thursday, make sure you've done your quiz already. If you're doing this as a catch-up video on a Thursday, make sure you've done your quiz already. You do this video, and then following that, there is a work pack that's been uploaded by your teacher with questions. I don't want anyone to turn around and tell their teacher they've got nothing to do, or they don't have anything to do in this lesson, because there's plenty for you to do. That's that work pack. That will be there for your Thursday lesson if you've finished all the videos. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and I will see you again soon.